Hello, my name is Ray. I'm the butchery tutor at Waltham Forest College. I'm going to give you my take on a short four of lamb. I'm going to be doing a lamb cushion and my take on a lamb Victoria. So this is what I'm going to start off by taking the shoulder around the top of the sternum, and now what you've got to do now is keep nice and close to them bones, flat bones. Don't do little jagging, do nice smooth strokes. You want to get as tight as you can to that bone. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to take the lamb fillet off with the shoulder. Nice and tight to the bones as you can. I'm going to try to do it, might look awkward in places because I'm trying to do it to the camera, but I've gone down them bones and I'm just taking off now down the lamb fillets. Now don't worry about the meat that's in between these bones, we trim that afterwards and it does get used. I'm now going to take off this top muscle, which is the spider muscle and the neck fillet, trying to leave the fat on the underside, so the fat's staying on the shoulder side. I'm going to follow this seam down. Once again, we're following the seam, we're not cutting into the meat. You see, as I'm pulling it, it literally comes away. Just tapping it with my knife. And following that seam down, when you get to the base here, you do actually hit the end of the blade bone. So you follow that top of that blade bone along. Just that first little edge bit like that. If you can see that, okay. Down to the bottom. Now what I'm trying to, what I'm going to do is leave as much of this on as I can on the shoulder. That will become apparent why later on. Okay. Now this is what we're going to be making the lamb Victoria out of. So that's the spider muscle and the neck fillet. I'm now going to take some of this fat off, once again down the seam, and by leaving it on the fat on the shoulder like that and not leaving it on there, it's easier for me to get it off. Taking the excess fat off the top. You get quite a big wedge of fat here, but I want to still try to leave some of this on the outside. comes down here in a triangle. So So we're going to take that fat out there as best we can, at this triangle. Now there's a gland in here which is called the pre-scapular, so that's why we want to make sure we get that out. Try and be a bit careful, I don't want to cut through the outside of the shoulder. If you look closely, you can see where that gland is, just there. That's the gland, which is the pre-scapular. See, there's quite a bit of fat around this end bit here. Okay, so I've not wasted no meat, it's literally just fat that I've taken off. Take a little bit of the fat off the outside of there. Straight out there. Right, I'm now going to bone out the knuckle. Come straight down the top there, down the top there. Underneath that muscle there. I'm taking this bone out here. There's a ball and socket joint just there, if you can see. Hopefully, just there. Just turn that round and we can just easily take that out now. This knuckle bone is made up of two bones which are fused together. It's the radius and the ulnar. The radius being the round bone on the outside there, the ulnar being this long thin bone here. Now I'm going to remove blade bone, which is a scapula. You'll see a seam that runs down the side of the scapula there. If you get into that seam and get nice and tight on top of that bone, you can get underneath a membrane. The membrane is called the periosteum. Now the periosteum, that is Latin for around the bone. Nice and tight to that bone. That's quite a thin bone, this one, so you don't want to dig too deep into the underlying muscles. I'm only using just like the tip of my knife. Down each side like that. I'm going to cut through. There's another ball and socket joint just here. And I'm just going to cut through that. You cut through that, and then you cut all around the top of it. I'm cutting all around the top of that joint. And now what I'm going to do, I want to go underneath the blade bone, but once again get nice and tight to that bone. Nice and tight. You'll hear a scraping noise, and that's because I'm close to the bone. and you can only go down so far because the blade bone's got like a shelf on it, which you'll see in a second. Same from the other side. Nice and tight to that bone. Once again, we're trying to get underneath that membrane. When you get to that stage there, sometimes you can get hold of it and pull it out. But when you're pulling it out, just make sure you're not tearing the meat underneath. If you are, stop and use your knife. Okay? And that's fairly clean. Oh, that's not clean. Moment. A little bit around the top there. Didn't get that very clean there, so that's gonna. We don't waste none of this meat. It's all gonna be minced for the stuffing. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that was the scapula we just took out. We're going to tunnel bone, which means taking this humerus bone out without cutting through the top of the meat. Go round the end. Once again, using the tip of your knife, by using this in a dagger, what we call a dagger grip, you get nice and close to that bone. Scrape that meat along the bone, just scrape that all along the bone as far as I can go without cutting it open. That's where I'm scraping down the bone. Turn it round, go back from the other end. Once again, use just the tip of your knife. Just remember, the more meat you leave on your bones, the more profit you're losing. That far, you should be able to just pull that out nice and clean. Okay, there's a little bit left on there. I'm just going to take that off. And that bone is called the humerus. Okay, so that's our shoulder bone now. Now we just have a little look round to make sure there's no bits of bone left in there. You always get a little blood vein just here where the humerus was connected to the scapula. So like a vein, so always take that out. I always think to myself, you wouldn't want to eat it. So always make sure to take that out. Just make sure there's no too excess fat on it. It's anywhere you think there's too much fat, just trim him out. Just now. Because shoulder is naturally a fatty meat. So don't worry about trimming, because I say we're going to use this trimming for our stuffing. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now, just to level this out a little bit. Trim a little bit out there. showed a little while, a few minutes ago, so I have got some stuff already made, but I will trim all this out and mince it. Which I've done here. I've minced some the lambs, the trim. I've put some mint dusting in with that, and also I put some dried peel in there. You can use apricots. This is apricots and pineapple. Sorry, apricot and pineapple. Right, I'm going to make a little slit in the middle there. In the middle, just lay that back a little bit. Try to get it into the middle if you can. In a bowl. And now this is where you've got to make sure that all this is encapsulated. Okay, you want everything to be enclosed. Like that. Just make sure everything's, because we don't want that stuffing to come out when you're cooking it. So one string across that way. Try to get your knot nice and low down if you can. Down sort of quite near to the bottom. Run across that way. So we've done like a square, that into 4 squares. Just make sure I shape it up again, just make sure the shape's nice. So we're going to go across this way. It's a little bit like an ice bun. Try to get your knots crossing in the middle. Do now is just put one right around the outside, and that hopefully will give us our round shape. Not hopefully, it will give us our round shape. Dampen the sides of this, just dampen the sides of this with a clean, it's a clean J cloth that I'm using with fresh clean water. And on the top, and then what I do is I'm just going to decorate this up, and this just adds a little bit more to the display of it. I think it just lightens the meat up, and just a little bit in the centre there, and just perhaps a little sprinkle all over it, and that is our lamb cushion. Okay, now from there we're going to go on to our Victoria. Okay. Now don't remember, that's the lamb fillet, your spider muscle and your lamb fillet. Now you've got a yellow bit of gristle along there. It's a protein called elastin, and it's what allows the animal's head to move up and down for feeding and moving about. So, but you've got to take that out because it won't break down in cooking. Okay, so we've got to take that out. It's a protein, I don't know if I'd said that, it's a protein called elastin. You'll see why in a second. You'll see it's just like an elastic band, yeah? Okay. I'm now just going to fold a little bit into the middle, try to level this up a bit squarer. Now, once again, a little bit of our stuffing. So remember, you're going to get a good price for this, so you're still going to get a good price for your trimmings. We go out around about £12 a kilo on these. Naturally in the college we're not looking to make the money that butchers and shops are making. Okay. To use a thin string for these. Just going to do one. There. We do one there. That's given us, because meat is very expensive at the moment, and as a butcher, to sell a whole shoulder is a lot of money. By doing it this way, you've ended up with two joints a little bit smaller, so it makes them more economical, plus they're nice joints. I mean, this is you think you've got no waste on these whatsoever. Probably going to get a good meal for 4 people out of that. Probably 6 to 8 out of that, I would imagine. A lot depends on naturally on people's appetites. I put one in this way just to hold its shape. That one too tight, it's literally there just to hold its shape. Okay, and then I'm going to just go one between each one of those just to give it a bit of a lattice sort of effect and hold it nicely. So don't, when you're tying these sort of things up, don't pull them too tight. You're not trying to strangle it, it's more to hold its shape while it's cooking. Very hard tying knots up with rubber gloves on. Take on a lamb Victoria.